Well, there's two things farmers hate, duplication and bureaucracy. And the Labour Party is straight off the block when it comes to its agricultural policy, pledging $50 million to help farmers pay for comprehensive farm plans. This will be a single framework to take on board all of the different box-ticking exercises that farmers now have to undergo. Damien O'Connor, Minister of Agriculture, will join us shortly to talk about how this will reduce the burden of compliance and help our agri-sector create greater economic returns for their products. The initial investment would help fund plans that meet all on-farm requirements for growers and farmers, environmental management, labour, biosecurity, health and safety, and replace that overlapping and wide-ranging reporting, auditing and consents. And Damien joins us now. Good evening, Damien.
Good evening, Sarah.
Now, of course, there has been a lot of different policy announcements, and will this firstly be the only one that is coming out pre-election on agriculture, or have we got more to come?
Look, this is the main one, I guess. We are committed to carry on doing what we're doing. That's the implementation of Fit for a Better World, working through encouraging more young people into agriculture and horticulture with the programs that we've got running now. So this one is at the heart of, I guess, assistance for farmers to meet the growing areas of compliance. And I hear the stories. I met with farmers just today who said, look, they have three plans or three people coming up the driveway with requirements for their operation. And what we're trying to do with the assistance of the $50 million is to bring it all into an integrated farm plan. I've had MPI officials working for almost a couple of years now on how to best identify the core components of this. Fonterra has planned, Synlait has a plan, Alliance, a number of them, some councils have plans to try and bring those core components into a template or a framework that says, look, if you work through this process and you can, it's not just about ticking boxes, but it is about having a plan for your particular bit of land, the operation that you run on it, and meeting all the requirements in a world that does look at us every single day very, very closely.
We look at the farm insurance program and the commercial advantages that these individual plans were, we've got the Sustainable Roundtable now that is actually adopting them finally. Will this be a minimum standard for access, do you think?
Look, I think it will. We undertake trade negotiations, EU, UK. They're always looking for excuses to keep us out of their markets. And as we've seen with requirements around beef access, around dairy into the US, we've had to meet arguably the highest standards in the world because they fear our efficiency, I guess. They fear the quality of our products. And their local producers, want, as I say, an excuse to keep us out. Look, we've met all of those through the years, and I think we can arguably say we probably meet the highest standards of any food exporting country around the world. We have to maintain that. There are new ways of them scrutinising our operations, not just social media, but the ability to measure residue levels in fruit and all of our products means that we have to ensure we don't have any of those residues slipping in. So making sure that we can meet the ever-increasing scrutiny means that the assurance programs we put in place have to be robust, they have to be auditable, and if they meet the requirements of the regional council, our animal welfare requirements, as well as the assurance quality for maybe our processing company, then, that's the efficiency we need to gain.
Okay, you talk about auditable. Who will be seeing this out? Our councils are heavily overworked, especially freshwater is just one more layer on top of their regional planning, and then of course this. Is it time to outsource this to a private entity potentially?
Look, we've been talking with the Institute of Primary Sector Advisors effectively and trying to work through, firstly to assist them with meeting the requirements of a certified farm plan auditor, and that's working through e Waka Eke Noa, so there'll be requirements over time for emissions. We do have now companies that do the auditing, or they've gone through the farm plans. If they haven't put in place an auditing system, be it to Alliance or Silverfern Farms, that puts their whole story at risk. So we're working through the planning and then the confirmation and auditing of that. If we can have one person come onto farm and do all of that and cover the company requirements, cover the regional council, cover OSH, cover all of those things, then that will save us all. So getting those skilled people will be building on, I guess, the skills of farm advisors and others around the place. And, we're working with industry how to do that best.
Yeah, they become the farmer's best friend after, of course, their dog, Damien, being all that to one. And, of course, the capability shortages, as you've just explained, and the time lag in being able to train people up for this. How do you believe, sorry, that was a comment, but in terms of the last question, farmers will be sitting here going, what about all the plans I've already had to put in place, the resource consent I've already got? How will this be merged, or will they be already carried over?
Yeah, and exactly. That's what we want to do, is to merge those, because a lot of the requirements they've had to meet, it might be for a resource consent, and it might be for, as I say, an assurance to get their product into a market that one of the companies might be selling into, Synlait, Miraka. They've all got their own plans along with Fonterra. We want to merge those and make sure that you can go through this exercise once. It will be skilled people, but I know there'll be many up to the challenge. We don't want to just put in place in regional councils, for example, people who are agricultural experts, coming onto farms. But there will be farm advisors who maybe want to upskill in the areas of resource management and areas of water quality, and just for the markers. The technical issues obviously will have to be covered by, and I think there'll be monitoring, there'll be overseer. There's a number of tools that we have available to us now that some people are using, and we just have to put them in one toolbox and enable, hopefully one person or an auditor to scrutinise that once.
Okay, do you have a deadline around this, and how do you get to $50 million?
Look, we've got basically for the freshwater regulations, we've got just over 12 months to work through that before farmers might start getting consents. I've always said that, look, the consents are kind of a bottom line, and if people can put in place farm plans, then they can be accepted as a consent. The mitigating factors of what might be some risky areas of intensive winter grazing, if they're incorporated into a farm plan and you say, well, we're going to crop here, we're going to feed it out in this way, and if there's a bad weather event, we've got mitigating things in place. So all of those things will be in a farm plan, and if they're accepted instead of consent, then that's great. That moves us on quickly. So we won't have finished this, within a year or two, but we're on a pathway, I guess, to get to a point before 2025 when we'll have to be measuring our emissions as well, and as well as having good water standards in place.
Is this effectively a licence to operate?
I guess it is, really. We have a growing set of compliances. You have, unless you run a good regime around health and safety, you effectively don't have a licence to operate. Unless you meet minimum standards around animal welfare, you don't really have a licence to sell your animals, or we won't as a country. And so, ensuring that you meet this minimum standards around water quality, in different regions, in different ways, we understand that, then effectively, yes, it will be difficult to operate. It's not about social licence only, although that's really important. The social licence comes from assuring people that what we do in farming is good for the community, it's good for the land, good for the animals, and it'll be really good for our customers. And when we put this package together, I think we'll get a premium in the marketplace that helps us get more for our product, and helps us, work to a place of better prosperity, more profit, not just more production.
Thank you so much, Minister of Agriculture, Damien O'Connor. This is Sarah's Country.